Hey there, fashion victims! Welcome to our channel, where we dig up the most gloriously ridiculous fashion trends from history. You know, those styles that make you wonder, what were they thinking? Get ready to cringe, laugh, and maybe even feel a little bit better about your own questionable fashion choices. From neckwear that could double as a satellite dish to makeup that was literally to die for, we're about to embark on a wild ride through the annals of fashion faux pas. So, grab your time-traveling hats, or just use your imagination, and let's dive into the wonderful world of fashion trends that should have stayed buried in the past. Picture this. It's the Elizabethan era, and you're a fancy pants nobleman strutting your stuff through the cobblestone streets. You're rocking a ruff, the latest in neckwear technology. It's basically a giant pleated collar, starched within an inch of its life, that makes your head look like it's floating on a cloud of linen. These things were massive, sometimes spanning a foot or more in diameter. Imagine trying to enjoy a bowl of soup with one of these bad boys on. Talk about a recipe for disaster. But hey, who needs to eat when you can look fabulous, right? Elizabethan fashion expert? Well, maybe not so fabulous. See, these ruffs weren't just uncomfortable. They were also a breeding ground for fleas and lice. And let's not forget the logistical nightmare of trying to get dressed with one of these things. You practically needed a team of engineers just to get the darn thing on. So why did people put up with these neck contraptions? Well, in Elizabethan England, bigger was always better. The size of your ruff was a symbol of your status and wealth. It was like driving a sports car or carrying around the latest iPhone, except way less practical and a lot more itchy. Plus, Queen Elizabeth I herself was a fan of the ruff, and when the Queen sets a trend, everyone follows, even if it means sacrificing your comfort and hygiene. Looking back, it's safe to say that the Elizabethan ruff was a fashion trend that should have stayed in the history books. But the ruff wasn't the only extravagant accessory of the time. People also wore elaborate hats, jeweled brooches, and ornate shoes. The layers of clothing were numerous, with undershirts, doublets, and cloaks adding to the complexity of getting dressed. Fashion was a way to display wealth and power, and the more elaborate your outfit, the higher your status. Hygiene, however, was often sacrificed for the sake of appearance. The heavy fabrics and tight garments made it difficult to stay clean. Despite the discomfort, the influence of Elizabethan fashion can still be seen today in modern runway shows and historical films. Designers often draw inspiration from the past, and the ruff has made a few comebacks in contemporary fashion, albeit in a more practical form. The legacy of Elizabethan fashion is a testament to the lengths people will go to for style, even if it means enduring a bit of discomfort. So next time you put on a slightly uncomfortable outfit, just remember, it could be worse. You could be wearing a ruff. And that, my friends, is the story of the OG neck donut. Ah, the Victorian era, a time of romance, industrial revolution, and beauty standards that could literally kill you. It was an age where the pursuit of beauty often came at a deadly cost. Back then, a pale complexion was all the rage. It wasn't just a fashion statement, it was a social marker. It was a sign of wealth and leisure, proving you didn't have to toil away in the sun like those pesky peasants. The paler you were, the more affluent you appeared. But achieving that ghostly pallor wasn't easy. Enter arsenic-based beauty products. Yes, you heard that right, arsenic, the same stuff used to poison rats and, well, inconvenient relatives. Victorian beauty enthusiast, these products promise to give women that ethereal, almost otherworldly glow. But at what cost? These Victorian beauty gurus were basically playing Russian roulette with their complexions. They were willing to risk it all for that perfect look. Arsenic might have given them that coveted paleness, but it also came with a whole host of delightful side effects like hair loss, vomiting, stomach cramps, and, oh yeah, death. The pursuit of beauty was a dangerous game. But hey, who needs a functioning nervous system when you can have skin as white as a sheet, right? The lengths people would go to for beauty were astonishing. It's a good thing Instagram influencers weren't around back then, or we'd probably still be slathering arsenic on our faces in the name of beauty. Imagine the hashtags, #Arsenic_glow, #deadly_beauty, Victorian beauty enthusiast. And speaking of questionable beauty practices, let's not forget about the craze for belladonna eye drops. These drops were used to dilate the pupils, making the eyes appear larger and more alluring. Belladonna, also known as deadly nightshade, was used to dilate the pupils, making the eyes appear larger and more alluring. The effect was considered mesmerizing, almost hypnotic. Never mind that it could also cause blurred vision, hallucinations, and you guessed it, death. The risks were enormous, but the desire to be beautiful often outweighed common sense. The Victorians sure knew how to suffer for beauty, Their relentless pursuit of aesthetic perfection often led them down perilous paths. It makes you appreciate the wonders of modern sunscreen and mascara, doesn't it? Today, we have the luxury of safe beauty products, a far cry from the deadly concoctions of the past. So next time you apply your favorite moisturizer, take a moment to be grateful for the advancements in beauty science.
Get ready to groove, baby. It's the 1970s, and disco fever is sweeping the nation. And what better way to show off your moves than with a pair of platform shoes that could double as stilts?
These bad boys were everywhere, from the dance floor to the grocery store. We're talking about shoes so high you could practically touch the ceiling. They came in all shapes and sizes, covered in glitter, suede, leather, you name it.
But let's be real, walking in platform shoes was no easy feat. It required the balance of a tightrope walker and the ankles of a steel worker. One wrong step and you'd be taking a tumble that would make even the most seasoned disco dancer wince.
And don't even get me started on trying to navigate stairs in those things. It was basically a recipe for a broken ankle. But hey, fashion is pain, right? Or at least it was in the 1970s.
Looking back, it's hard to believe that anyone ever thought platform shoes were a good idea. They were impractical, dangerous, and let's be honest, a little bit ridiculous. But hey, they did make you a few inches taller, and in the disco era, height was everything.
Hold on to your hats, folks, because we're about to delve into the world of the mullet, the hairstyle that's so bad it's almost good. You know the look, short on the sides, short on top, and long in the back? Like a reverse party on your head.
The mullet first rose to fame in the 1980s thanks to rock stars like David Bowie and Billy Ray Cyrus. It was a symbol of rebellion, a way to stick it to the man while still looking somewhat presentable for your day job.
But the mullet's popularity wasn't limited to rock stars. It quickly spread to the masses, becoming the go-to hairstyle for everyone from athletes to actors to, well, your weird uncle who still lives in his parents' basement.
The mullet was a true cultural phenomenon, inspiring countless jokes, songs, and even a few documentaries. But like all good, or should I say bad, things, the mullet's reign eventually came to an end. By the 1990s, it had become the hairstyle equivalent of a punchline, a symbol of all that was tacky and outdated.
But like a phoenix rising from the ashes, the mullet has made a surprising comeback in recent years. Maybe it's nostalgia for simpler times, or maybe people are just realizing that the mullet is so bad it's actually kind of awesome. Whatever the reason, the mullet is back, baby, and it's here to stay.
Fasten your seatbelts, because we're about to take a trip back to the early 2000s, a time when low-rise jeans reigned supreme, frosted tips were all the rage, and crop tops were considered outerwear. It was an era defined by bold and often baffling fashion choices that seemed to defy all logic and reason. It was a simpler time, a time when you could wear a trucker hat with literally anything and no one would bat an eye. These hats were the ultimate accessory, adding a touch of rugged charm to any outfit no matter how mismatched.
But looking back, it's clear that the early 2000s were a bit of a fashion minefield. For every trend that hit the mark, there were countless others that missed it by a mile. Let's start with the low-rise jeans. These jeans were the cornerstone of early 2000s fashion, but they came with their own set of problems. These abominations were basically designed to give you a permanent wedgie. They were uncomfortable, impractical, and yet somehow, everyone was wearing them. They were so low, you could practically see your soul patch. It was a constant battle to keep them up. And yet, we all thought we looked so cool. And don't even get me started on the muffin top epidemic they caused. It was a rare sight to see someone wearing low-rise jeans without a hint of muffin top.
But hey, at least they paired perfectly with those tiny little crop tops that barely covered your belly button. These tops were the go-to choice for anyone looking to show off their midriff. And who could forget about the frosted tips? This hairstyle was the epitome of early 2000s cool, with everyone from pop stars to regular folks sporting the look. It was like everyone was trying to channel their inner Justin Timberlake, with varying degrees of success. Some pulled it off, while others, not so much.
But the real MVP of early 2000s fashion disasters has to be the velour tracksuit. These outfits were the height of luxury and comfort, or so we thought at the time. Made famous by celebrities like Paris Hilton and Britney Spears, these tracksuits were the epitome of early 2000s style. They were everywhere, from red carpets to grocery stores. They were comfy, they were stylish, or so we thought. And they came in every color under the sun. You could mix and match to your heart's content, creating a rainbow of velour.
Looking back, it's hard to believe that we ever thought any of this was a good idea. But hey, we were young, we were free, and we had dial-up internet. It was a time of experimentation and self-expression, even if it meant making some questionable fashion choices. What more could you ask for? The early 2000s may have been a fashion disaster, but they were our fashion disaster, and we wouldn't have it any other way.
Well, there you have it, a whirlwind tour of some of the most ridiculous fashion trends in history. From neck ruffs to platform shoes to low-rise jeans, we've covered it all. It's amazing to see how fashion has evolved over the centuries, and it makes you wonder what future generations will think of our current style choices. Will they laugh at our skinny jeans and oversized hoodies? Will they cringe at the sight of our athleisure wear? Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure, fashion is a constantly evolving reflection of ourselves and our culture. So the next time you're tempted to judge someone's fashion choices, just remember that what's considered ridiculous today might be the height of fashion tomorrow. And who knows, maybe one day we'll be looking back on our current trends with the same mix of amusement and horror as we do now at the fashion faux pas of the past. Thanks for watching.